Hello, welcome to Tuesday's Tip from the Workshop. This time we're in the office because this time we're doing paperwork. This is the kind of paperwork that is going to help you very much. So what I do before the guitar leaves the shop is I take the guitar, put it right here on a stand right beside my desk, and I go through the guitar from top to bottom and grade it. Here's my current grading chart. It's just a guitar drawing, and I go through and write down all the things about the guitar, little unique features it has, and the basic data: scale length, fingerboard width, bridge width, materials, custom features, that kind of thing. Put the serial number, put the owner's name, put the date, and I keep it all in a book. Now what that does is in the future, if this guitar changes hand 2 or 3 times, and I've forgotten about it 5-10 years from now, I'm going to remember the general how cool guitar it is, but I'm not going to remember the details as much as you might think. I made a lot of guitars. So it's nice to have a reference, because someone calls and say, how much is this worth, who owned it? I can say, well, it came back in for this because it was in a car accident, or I haven't seen it since since it left the shop, or I saw it once 3 years ago and it looked like it had been through a war, or I know the owner, he's the original owner, he babies it, it should be pristine, whatever. I can keep record of the guitar. But more important than keeping a record of the guitar, it does something that, Rembrandt said that when he was doing a painting, he would take the painting and look at it in a mirror. That way, after suffering over it, he could look at it from a new perspective and see things and make adjustments that he may not have seen had he continued looking at it in the same fashion that he had been looking at it the whole time he was creating it. So, by looking at the guitar one last time, nut fit, any gaps under the nut, etc., you may find a little error that you hadn't seen before. You may find something, a room for improvement for the next guitar. Now, keeping that in mind. So these are the most recent guitars. Here are guitars number 154 through 465. Now during this period of time, I was making 5 guitars a month. So what I would do, let's see, well, what I have, these are 4 a month on this one. So I have the 4 guitars, and the number of the guitars and the parts of the guitar: peg head, nut, the tuners, the inlet, fingerboard inlays, materials, all the stuff listed down. So I write down what all the materials are on each individual guitar, and even now if someone calls and says, I have guitar number 315, I can say, oh, that's got Padauk bindings, or Cody on the fingerboards, abalone rosette, etc. And I'll have other notes on the back. Excuse me, if it comes in for repair work or something happens or I hear about the guitar, I can make a note so I have a history of the guitar. This is a wonderful service you do for your customers. It's a wonderful thing you do for your future customers. So, but it helps you too. Because what I'll do, if you can see this, you can see the green dots and yellow dots. The green dots are the way I want it to be. The yellow dots are the dots that I see room for improvement. And if something ever goes wrong, you'll have a red dot, and then they'll say, well, that was an error, and I don't want that to happen again because it caused me a lot of extra grief it shouldn't have. The yellow dots are, well, here, for example, these dots are like half yellow, half green. It's like, it was probably okay by most people's standards. I'm a picky guy. I think there's room for improvement. So it goes across, all the way across, it's the finish. So I know it wasn't a one-off goofy thing. I had a procedural problem with my finish at that point. What was I using? I was using this stuff called Simtech. It was a catalyzed finish, and I had some problems with it. So I realized it wasn't just a one-off fluke, but it's something I needed to address. In this case, I changed the finish. So I know that these guitars, someone calls and says blah, 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 I know it has a Simtech finish on it. So it's great for you to keep records of your guitars. It's what you should do. It's what you should do for your customers, but it helps you because it really helps you find if there's a procedural problem. It helps you take one last look at the guitar to make it as best you can before it leaves, and be critical on yourself. Don't try to not see the problem. Try to see where the problem is. It's the only way you're going to get better. If that center seam isn't lined up, or the binding on the seam isn't lined up right, don't try to ignore it. Don't hope other people don't see it. You see it, and you fix it. If the neck isn't lined up on the body, and the top and back aren't lined up on the sides quite right, pay attention to that. This is the only way you'll get better. So anyway, I don't mean to be preaching to you on a soapbox. This has been super helpful to me, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you to be happy building guitars.